Hey guys, it's Todd from Like-Minded Lunatics bringing you another drink, play, swear. It's all we do around here. It's all the FBI's investigation of our laptop proved that we've been doing. Around here. Hunter Biden reference. Welcome back to Like-Minded Lunatics and welcome back to Drink, Play, Swear. While I'm thinking about it, please hit that subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of this very screen right now. It's going to do a couple of things. One is it's going to show us how big this Like-Minded Lunatics world is getting, how many people are in this family with us, but it's also going to keep you updated as of the new stuff coming out, and we've got new stuff every week. The Drink, Play, Swear is usually on Wednesdays, every Wednesday, but of course, my buddy and writing partner, Mark Gifford, has got great stuff like the Friday night videos. You got to check out the Friday night videos. If you're not checking those out, they're great. And now that people are being immunized, I noticed that Mark, in the most recent one, Mark has got a guest, blues musician Todd Roth, joining him for the Friday night video. Good times. Crazy to see two people on the same screen almost. Anyway, welcome back to Drink, Play, Swear. If you're not familiar, if you're not from around these parts, you're not familiar with the segment, at Drink, Play, Swear, we do exactly that. Play a game, usually a classic one, pair it with a beverage, and, well, I tell you a story. So what do we got here? Oh, man. The 1986 classic. It's Gradius, you guys. It's Gradius. Konami, another Konami classic. 1986, I was 5 years old. I didn't even have this game. Things weren't as simple to get back then. You had to actually find a store that had the thing you wanted. You couldn't just order it online. So I did rent this game quite a bit. It was a rental for me. Blockbuster Video, Hollywood Video, or South Texas folks, you might remember before it was Hollywood Video, as HEB Video Central. What? HEB Video Central. When video rental was so big that the grocery stores were getting involved. Man, those were the days. Okay, we're playing a classic here today, and I'm pairing it with a classic beverage. This is a Jim Beam and Coke. Last week. So Mark selects the images, and I send these videos to him, and he releases them. He just put a ridiculous. Anytime I make a weird face, I know that's what's going to be on the card. That's what's going to be the thumbnail for the video. He had a good one last time, so let's see if we can give him a good one this time. All right, that's me playing the game. That's me playing the game and frustrated, I guess. Okay, so let's play some Gradius and have a beverage. So join me for a beverage. Cheers. Here's to it. There's mud in your eye. Slancha. Assalamu alaikum. No. Okay. Here's Gradius, dude. I love Gradius. You know what's fascinating to me about Gradius is it's one of those games where it's simple. It's a D-pad and 2 buttons. But no one could agree when you were a kid about how to play, about what the strategy was for the power-ups in this game. I got my own strategy. I already messed it up. I accidentally bought the laser. Or equipped the laser. I don't like the laser because I don't like the way it sounds. Listen. To me, that's an infuriating noise. So I'm going to get rid of that. We're going to go to this guy. And eventually I want to get a shield, if I can, because it's easy to get hit in this game. All right, so what are we going with for the story today? I got a personal big one. You know, I've told stories in the past that sort of resonate with most audience members. Saturday morning cartoons. We just recently did that one. You go check out Saturday morning cartoons. Stuff like that kind of resonates with whole generations of people. But today's, I don't know if this one's going to resonate for you as much. I just want to tell a personal story, and it's about getting out of high school. I've told high school stories before, most of them bad memories. There was like the whole attendance report card incident. You can check that out. Man, that was like freshman, sophomore year. If you haven't seen that video yet, please go check it out. I had a rough couple of years in high school, man. And today's story is about the end of those days and moving on to happier days, to better days. I wasn't doing well in school. I told you that before. And, the yearbook came out my junior year. The yearbook came out, and look at this. I'm thumbing through it. I was there for picture day. I know I was there for picture day, but I get to my name. You see that? I needed the shield. This is going to be a garbage run. I'm going to have to start this over. But anyway, I see that? I'm gonna try to ignore it. Gradius. More like not great, yes. Sorry. I'll eventually start the story. I'll get there when I choose to get there. Thank you. Don't fast forward. All these, you never know what I'm going to say. Priceless nuggets of wisdom and intellect. Game over already. Haven't even started the story. Game over. Let's have a sip. Let's brace ourselves for some truly awful gameplay. Okay. I'm using a different controller today. I'm going to blame that. I don't even know where the start button is. Okay. So let's start again. Wrapping up high school. Oh, yeah. So my junior year, I go and looking through the yearbook, and I'm not there. I was there for picture day. So, you know, I didn't get along with administration very well. I figured this was a perfect opportunity to go mouth off to them about how they forgot me. I go in the vice principal's office. I'm going, hey, what's the idea? You know, I'm not even in the yearbook. You can't get rid of me that easy. Just being, you know, probably generally awful to be around. And the vice principal comes out with a big smile on his face. He says, Todd, we didn't forget you. You're with the sophomores. And I was like, well, I'm a junior. And he's like, your credits say you're a sophomore. You know, this isn't like just a 4-year term and whatever happens, you're done. You have to actually get through the coursework, Todd. So I come to the realization a few weeks before the end of what I thought was my junior year that I had done 2 sophomore years. Oh, well, even, you know, the friends of mine who'd been ditching class with me and making terrible mistakes, even all those guys were now getting it together, taking their SAT. If they weren't college bound, they were at least taking all the tests to try to get into college. I'd done none of that. I hadn't been thinking about it. So now it's time to start trying to get it together. I go to my counselor. Now, I've heard a lot of stories about high school counselors being garbage, and that's kind of like the stereotype, I think. Oh, geez. Okay, see, I'm glad I have the shield here. I have a chance to survive, but you know me, I'll find a way to mess it up. See? This is usually a pretty good hiding spot. I go to my counselor. I'm going to name him by his name because he was a really wonderful guy. He did not fit the stereotype at all. Mr. Simons. Mr. Simons was pretty great, and he talked me through it. He said, well, you know, yeah, you've failed a few classes. You know, it tends to happen when you don't show up. Tends to happen when you're not there for the test. But let's see what we can do. And he put together a plan for me to double up on some of my maths, double up on some of my sciences. I'd always done well in like English and history and stuff. And graduate on time. He says, let's get you graduated with your friends. And he drew up the plan. He says, you know, of course, you can't make any mistakes. There's no room for electives. There's no room for mistakes here. Okay. So now the power was still with me, right? Like, if I want it to happen, I got to make it happen. So the next year, which was technically my junior year, but I was going to try to race through about 2 years worth of work, I started working towards it. And my counselor was even saying, like, you know, you should also take your SAT and apply to schools, you know, apply to a couple of schools. And he had gone to Texas Lutheran University. Shout out to the Bulldogs. He said, why don't you apply to TLU? It's a good school. And, it's a good school. It's a 4-year school. And you could get out of San Antonio, away from your parents, get some independence, but you'd be close by when you wanted to be close to home. And, you know, you might be able to get in. So I took my SAT. Studied a little. You know, it was like studied about halfway. About a half of an effort. And I got an average score. I think that year, this was, you know, the old 1600 was the highest score. I don't know what they're doing now. But, and I remember that year specifically, the national average was a 1036. And I got an 1100. I was like, good enough. That was me in those days. Average was just fine. Fine, just fine. I was even proud of average because I hadn't even tried very hard. that was sort of the story of those 4 years. So I applied to school, and I was waiting to find out if I was going to get in. I didn't know. I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what I was doing. So if I didn't get in school, what am I going to do? I had friends who were like customer service on the phone. I had friends who worked in a garage, but I didn't know anything about cars. No plan. I mean, I wanted to be a famous writer. And of course, you read about all these greats, award winners who didn't go through school, and I'm like, I could do it. So I hadn't really made a plan. Didn't have a plan. Look at these guys. This is unbelievable. And I don't have the power up I want, so I'm just gonna fail miserably there. Well, let me pause here. Give the beverage time. I like to give you time as well. So, waiting to hear if I'm going to get into school or not. Real nervous. One day, I'm at IHOP with a buddy during his work lunch. And my mother pages me. We didn't have cell phones back then. This is 98, 99. They were out. Some people had the little Nokias, but didn't have it yet. This was like, before, like now you think of a pager. The joke is you're either a doctor or a drug dealer, but everyone I knew had a pager. Motorola. And I get a page from my mom, 911 page, which means call home immediately or come home immediately. So I come home, and there was a call for me. And it was this woman who worked at Texas Lutheran, who I was working with. I'll give her name as well because she was a wonderful person. Her name was Irma with an E, Irma Nieto. The likelihood, Irma, that you're watching any of these is real slim. I can't believe that you would care about bourbon and video games, but she was a wonderful person. I don't know why she went the extra mile to help me, but she did, and I remember it all these years later. She said, Todd, I'm looking at your materials here. The SAT sample is adequate. It's fine. It's similar to a lot of folks who apply here. The grades are low. Now, we didn't do GPA at this school, at my high school, but they just gave your average, like out of 100. I had like a 76 average. And listen, man, I was in marching band. They give you 100 every 6 weeks, just if you're enrolled. So even with all those 100s, 76. She said, I'm concerned that they're not going to give you a proper look. But honestly, you jumped out for me because the writing sample was strong. So I'm just going to tell you, here's what they normally do. If they're kind of on the fence about a candidate, they will put them in a stack to be looked at by a subcommittee to decide if somebody's going to be accepted on a probationary status or not. I said, okay. She said, those folks who are put in that probationary, into that meeting for that subcommittee to decide if they're going to let them in a probationary status or not, if they're going to decline them, they ask for an extra essay. So why don't we preemptively have you write that essay and just submit it with your stuff so that it gets passed along and we know you have a better chance. She knew the process. I'm amazing at this game. Game over twice. She knew the process and she wanted to help me. Don't know why, but she did. So what was the essay supposed to be about? Okay, well, the original essay, college essay that I wrote, was if you could sit down with any two people, living or dead, who would you want to sit down with? And I said Mark Twain and Kurt Vonnegut. So, I mean, I guess she knew I was into reading and writing, and she wanted to help me out. The essay wasn't horrible, so write a second essay. This one it should be on why my grades are so bad. Okay. Explain my situation, give them some context so they can consider me better. Great. Now, my grades were awful, but I knew I could write. And I would go on. Today, I am a writing teacher, and I teach rhetoric, persuasion. Well, what are the keys to persuasion here? At its core, persuasion is about three things, right? Logic, credibility, and passion. Well, logic would say, if you're looking at my application, not to take me, right? Because I've got what? 0 credibility. Remember the report card incident. Okay. Not that they knew that, but I knew it about myself. What did I have? Pathos. Passion. Let's do it, and let's go full tilt on the passion for this. I got to get in this school. So I wrote this very stirring essay, 500-word essay, about what had been going on in my life, and that I was, having trouble in math, having trouble in science, too embarrassed to ask for help, which was true. Uh-oh. Okay, now look at all this firepower. I got a decent chance to survive this because I got these missiles coming down. So let's hope we can get through this. Write the essay. Now, in the essay, I fibbed a little bit about my home life situation. I was going on and on a little bit about my parents fighting and how maybe I didn't always feel safe and would hang out at friends' houses and didn't take my backpack, and so I wasn't doing my homework. Now, my parents did fight, but I wouldn't say that much more than any other set of parents. And most of my friends growing up, they only had one parent. I was like the kid who had 2 parents whose parents loved him and was around. So comparatively speaking, I had pretty good home life. So I felt compelled to tell my mom that I wrote this about her. And I said, oh, I really want this power up, man. I got to pay attention. So I said, Mom, I got to tell you here. I showed her the essay, told her the situation. I said, I got to be honest with you. I was kind of harsh on you here. And she read it. She sat there for a long time reading it. And I was just looking at the floor, waiting to hear her response to this, because I felt like I needed her permission. And it was quiet for a while. And she said, Todd, you do whatever you have to do to get into school. I had at least one sibling not finish high school. And there were times when she was obviously afraid that was going to happen to me too. So I had this opportunity. She's like, you say whatever you want about us if you think it'll get you in. So I even inflated it a little more. I submitted the thing. I mean, I'm not sorry. I'm just not. Submitted the thing. And I'm waiting around for this thing. I got no other plan, And then one day, Irma Nieto called back. And she says, I'm in my parents' living room. My mom is in the kitchen. She knows I'm making the call, calling back Irma, because I'd missed her call. And my mom is standing in the kitchen, finishing washing dishes. She's got a towel in her hand, I know. And I get Irma on the phone. She says, Todd, I just wanted to give you a call and let you know that the committee met today. And they are going to, they're going to send you the paperwork, but you're in. Now, it's probationary status, so you have to keep a 2.5 GPA for your first 2 semesters. I was in tears immediately, and my mom was just standing there staring at me, waiting for me to get off the phone. And I got off the phone, and she's just looking at me. I said, I got in. And my mother was not athletic, but she, jumped 2 feet in the air. She could have dunked a basketball, man. And it was a big moment. It was a big moment. I know for some kids who college was always the plan and you always did well, getting your acceptance letters may not have been that big of a deal. Or maybe you applied to 5 or 6 places and maybe you're a little disappointed because the place you wanted to go to you didn't get into, but you got into the others. I had 1 chance, and I didn't think to some degree that I deserved it, and I got it. So for some people, it might not be such a big deal, but I got to be honest with you, my wife saying yes when I proposed, the day my kids were born, and that day, Like those are the big ones for me because it meant I was going to have a different life. Like I like to think about, I like the Marvel movies and DC has it as well. This idea of the multiverse, and I've spent a lot of time in my life thinking about how things could have gone differently if I'd made different decisions at different times. And that moment there, when I got in, is one of those big ones for me. Like what would I have done? And I'm glad I don't have to know. Got into school. Always did well enough to stay well above the 2.5. Kept a 3.0 my entire time in school and loved it. I remember the first day of class, the first day of college, going to a lit class, World Lit, with Dean Rader. Shout out to Dean Rader if you're still out there. I mean, I know you're out there, but anyway, Dean Rader. And I sat in on World Lit, and he told me we were going to be reading Dante's Inferno and all the other stuff we're going to be reading that semester. And I sat there in that classroom among people who wanted to be there because everybody wanted to be there. And I got out of class that first day, walking back to my dorm room. I felt like the luckiest human being on the planet that I had escaped this path that I'd made well for myself of doing nothing. And I thought about my friends who didn't go to school, and some of them didn't want to. Many of them didn't want to. They wanted to get a car, get an apartment, get out of their parents' house. They had their own goals, but they were breaking their backs, a lot of them. And here I was. I got to sit around and talk about ideas. That was what was expected of me. Talk about stuff. Talk about ideas. It was a dream come true. Got through college in 4 years, went on to do 2 master's degrees, and then I decided to be in the classroom for the rest of my life. For a kid who didn't want to be in high school and worked real hard not to be there at all. It's a little unlikely that I would choose it, but I feel lucky for it. And, a lot of it had to do with the woman who would become my wife, encouraging me, Mr. Simons, Irma Nieto, my parents who were afraid I was going to end up not doing much with my life. All those folks have a lot to do with me finally getting out of school. So thanks for letting me share that with you guys. And thanks for suffering through Gradius. Look at I'm on Easter Island in space. What's happening here? Let's finish these beverages. Thanks again for being with Like-Minded Lunatics. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. And let's finish off these beverages. Boy, I just kicked into high speed, didn't I? In between now and the next time I talk to you, I'm Todd. See ya.